All right, so here we are, recording one, a little test trial here. Uh, this is all washed up.
Episode one.
Episode one, that's right. Little background of what we are, what we do. I'm Scott. That's Big Al. We've known each other for what, 6 years, something like that. At least
8 years now?
8 years.
2013?
Yeah,
8?
years.
No, 2000, yeah,
Um,
8 years now.
So Alan and
Yeah.
I, we were in Turkey together, both Air Force. He's out now, as you can see by his little thing that he's got it going on his face. I'm still in. One of our other
A little
buddies,
bit there.
uh, Billy, he unfortunately couldn't make it with us tonight because he had some stuff happen at work. So Billy was actually in tech school with Alan, and then Alan, me, and Billy all ended up at Whiteman Air Force Base together. Big thing that we still talk, I wouldn't say maybe every day, but at least every other day. And it's all about sports. We're all in a fantasy football league together, been for the last couple of years. And we just kind of wanted to get together as much as we can because we don't get to talk about sports like we used to up in the Tower Cab anymore. And that's it. I mean, this whole thing is basically just going to be us shooting the shit, talking nonstop about sports, mainly football. We're all big football fans, obviously, because we're all in a fantasy league together and everything else. And I know I'm big into hockey and baseball and really any other sport. We all golf too. So as you can see, I actually just got back from golfing a little bit ago. So today, what we decided that we were going to do for our first episode was basically go through the draft. I know a lot of other people are doing the same thing, but I think it's fun. Alan and I, we actually didn't discuss any of our picks for the entire first round. So we kind of wanted to see where each of us felt like for each pick, for each team, for each round. We did this with no trades, and we all know that there's going to be trades in the first round. So, which as I was going through it, I'm like, man, they should definitely trade up and doing all this. But Alan, you got? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
before we get into it, man, you got anything that you want to throw in there at all, or so I crack open my beer?
No, I'm gonna just we've been talking about doing this for a while now. You were deployed for a little bit, and I was dealing with moving around the country, starting new jobs and everything. So
Right.
we finally got the chance to get this started. Figured, why not? Let's get it started. Our background. We're controllers. We're always up in the tower cab. Every single day we're up there. We're like, oh hey, did you see what happened in sports? You
Right.
see what happened here. All of our takes and everything. So we figured, why not bring that to everybody else? So.
Yep. That's why, like I said, I've tried this once before by myself, and it's not as fun by myself. So I'm glad that I've got you and Billy, and I know my brother wants to get in on a little bit. My cousin Ricky, really, I've talked to a couple people in our fantasy league that all want to have a little piece of it. So, all right, so let's get into it a little
Yeah,
bit
man.
here.
Get some guests in and do some different segments and
Yeah,
everything.
man.
So
Um, so draft next Thursday, first round. I think everybody knows who's going first, even though I could argue for a different person. But first round, first pick, I've got
pretty
Trevor.
self-explanatory at that
Yeah,
time.
I've got Trevor Lawrence going to Jacksonville. However, I will say this before I finish that. If I was Urban Meyer, I would take Justin Fields. He's been in the Ohio State system. I think that he is, and I don't say it a lot about Ohio State quarterbacks because their record of success has not been very good, but I think Justin Fields would actually be a better fit there. But you don't want to pass up Trevor Lawrence, because if you pass up Trevor Lawrence and he ends up being exactly what everybody thought that he was going to be, then you look like an idiot. So, Alan, your camera went out. You still there?
Yeah. I would. What's that?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Your
I'm
camera's
still
back.
here.
Oh, your
Yeah.
camera went out. I didn't know if it went out maybe because you switched screens or.
Oh, I don't know if we can cut this or whatever, but your. Yeah, yours is out too. It says Scott Decker's video has been disabled due to internet quality issues. Their video will still be recorded.
Oh,
I
that's
don't know if
cool.
that's on my end or.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I just keep going. I'll see what it looks like at the end. So, yeah, bear
Can you hear
with
me
us
still?
forever. Yeah, bear with us for whoever decides to watch this because we're still working out the kinks. So, yeah, I still hear you and I see you now. Like I'm good. Like I
Hello?
see everything. You there? Hmm.
I guess not your. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I have you. You have
Okay.
me.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
it's saying that your video got turned off or
Here,
whatever.
let me move my phone real quick. It's probably because I'm literally off my hotspot, so I'll see my.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
All right, let's try that.
Yeah, that whole intro and everything you were cutting in and out.
Oh well. Oh well. I don't know unless you just want to
Yeah, I
start
mean,
over, but
I don't know. Well, no, I don't know if that'll come out like through the recording or whatever, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, or if that was just like my end of the connection, you know what I mean?
I don't know. Oh well. Well, for whoever's
Yeah.
watching, just skip
Seem,
through this part, so I'm not starting over and redoing our reintroduction and everything. So,
yeah.
anyways,
It
what
seems
else?
clear. Seems clear now.
That's good. So, anyways, what I was saying is that
Yeah.
yes, I have them taking Trevor Lawrence, but I can make a case for Justin Fields. Like I said, he's been in the Ohio State system. There's Urban Meyer's there, but you don't want to be that idiot that doesn't take Trevor Lawrence and he turns out to be exactly what everybody thinks he's going to be. So you're kind of, I think, honestly, I think they're kind
Yeah,
of caught in
exactly.
a. It's one of those things where they're kind of caught. Like, sure, there might be somebody else out there that you really like, but like you look like an idiot if you don't take Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things you have to look at ceiling though too. It's like
True.
Justin Fields an amazing prospect. Like to me he's my number two quarterback in the class. Do I have him going number two? No, not at all because you never know what NFL GMs are going to do.
Right.
But I think ceiling wise, I think when you look at that, you have to look at ceiling and the fact of like what Trevor Lawrence's ceiling is if you surround him like with the right coach and the right
Oh,
system and everything.
no,
So.
absolutely. No, I get that. Like I said, I think that Justin Fields' ceiling is extremely high too. Being put in the right system.
Mhm.
I mean, just like at Ohio State, I mean, he succeeded well at Ohio State, and everybody was giving him crap because, like, well, you don't get through the first progression. He doesn't go through his progressions just because he doesn't need to. Like when you have Chris Olave that's 20 yards downfield in front of everybody, like you don't need to go through your progressions. He's wide open. So how can you judge a kid
Exactly.
off of that?
Yeah.
And because the same thing could be said about Mac Jones too. Sure, Mac Jones doesn't go through his progressions because he's got Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith and everybody else that he's thrown to. So
Yeah. How good is Mac Jones, when he's thrown into an NFL system and, let's say, for purposes that the Patriots end up do taking Mac Jones because he's the quarterback available. How
right,
good is Mac Jones when he's thrown to, the guys that the Patriots have on their roster?
exactly.
Like,
Like look at Cam. I mean, I'm
when
sure
he's
if you
got
would have put.
when he's got a
Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, you're good. Like he's got Devonta Smith, Heisman Trophy winner, Jalen Waddle, and all those guys. The farm essentially that Alabama has. Like, how good of a quarterback really are you when you're playing with like 5-star recruits 100%
Right.
of your time of your career? So,
Right. No,
yeah.
absolutely.
But
All right. So
yeah, I think it's yeah, consensus, man. Like if they don't take Trevor Lawrence, then it'll be the wildest thing to happen in the longest time in the draft. So,
because the Jets would be sitting there at number 2 going like,
I'm sure.
just like
Oh, the Jets would be going wild if they if they got Trevor Lawrence, man.
all right. So second overall, yeah, then same thing. I imagine you probably have the same as me. I have Zach Wilson just because that's like the talk of the town, and I know that apparently he's actually already been like talking to like Chad Pennington and other guys other quarterbacks that have played in New York and like asking him like, hey, where should I move to? So I would assume that that's where he's going.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if the Jets have gone as far as giving him the playbook like the Jaguars did with Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, it's already been tied to that Zach Wilson's their guy, and I see the ceiling and the potential with Zach Wilson. He's got his flaws too.
Right.
On I guess the attitude portion of it, people see his attitude as way too over cocky, where it comes,
Right.
or not over cocky, but over confident, and he comes off as cocky.
Right.
And how's that going to transition to the NFL when you got these, 10-year veterans in the locker room being like, all right, kid, listen up. Like, so
Yeah. No,
we'll see how that goes.
I agree, man. See, so I think we can both agree, like consensus wise, like 1 and 2, we're all pretty sure it's going to be Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. Some people said that I think they think the draft starts at 4 in Atlanta. And I actually think it starts at 3 because a lot of people think Mac Jones is going to the 49ers, but if I'm a GM and I see Justin Fields sitting there, like I don't get what the fascination is about Mac Jones. Like Kyle Shanahan wants to run a faster offense, this spread that he didn't get to run with Matt Ryan that he thought that he was going to get to run with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, why would you take Mac Jones over Justin Fields? I like that makes zero sense to
me. Mac Jones to me, man, is Jimmy G 2.0.
Exactly.
That's literally what I have written down in my notes is Jimmy G 2.0. Like if they take him, one, you wasted all that draft capital to go up and get Jimmy G when you could have got him at a lower spot.
Right.
And it's
or just not even get him. If that's the case, just keep Jimmy G.
Yeah, exactly. You got Jimmy G under contract. You're paying him a ton of money. Like, pay him the money and work the system. So, but I've got. I think what the 49ers should do is that they should take Justin Fields. Like with the top 2 going there, Justin Fields is left. Fields is number 2 in my book. Mac Jones is 5. Like I wouldn't even be mad if the Niners they took Trey Lance. Let Trey Lance sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo, learn for an entire year under Kyle Shanahan. And then take over the reins next year. Trade off Jimmy G to somebody who will give you some money for him. So,
no, I agree. I actually on my board I actually have Justin Fields. So I did not have them taking Mac Jones.
Nice.
So we're 3 for 3 so far.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. To me, that's all, like, what you can say is that, like the draft starts at 3. And really it does because it's whichever quarterback they decide to take, because if for some reason 49ers make the decision to take Mac Jones, then every NFL team that needs a quarterback is calling the Falcons nonstop. I mean, they're already probably going to be doing that, obviously, to get into that spot, but
right. But at that same time, though, like if I'm Atlanta and Justin Fields is sitting there, and I know I've only got maybe another year or 2 with Matt Ryan, like why wouldn't you find Matt Ryan's successor right there? Like that to me, that's what I would. I mean, sure, I would love to take the calls, and if if a great offer is there, so I can get Justin Fields. But if I'm like I said, if I'm Atlanta, I'm like, here's my successor to Matt Ryan. I'm taking Justin Fields. So, but that's what I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like when I think the draft starts at 3, because if Mac Jones is taken at 3, then I think Atlanta may take either, like you said, the calls or Justin Fields themselves. But it really depends, because I have them taking Justin Fields, which to me kind of solidifies where the rest of the draft, because I don't think that Atlanta would take Mac Jones. I think that they would pass on Mac Jones and move on. But
oh yeah. I mean, I could see Atlanta maybe taking Trey Lance, but I think the only prospect that they would really look at to take would be Justin Fields if he fell. But even then, my thought process with them is the amount of holes and everything that they have on that team. That they've got Matt Ryan for another 2 years. They've got Julio, who's ailing in his process, but then they've got Calvin Ridley. It would make sense that they would trade down, get more picks, and help reload that team. That way, in a couple years, every year there's quarterback prospects coming out, and it's just like, all right, who's going to be the next, who's going to be the next Trevor Lawrence that's coming out this year and everything. So it's like they can find that down the road if they solidify everything up now. Because the biggest thing that I ran into when I was going through this was teams like the Lions. The Lions in my draft had an opportunity to take a quarterback. But why would the Lions draft a quarterback when they have a roster full of holes? And it's just like you can't really judge a quarterback and see whether he's worth it or not, like for taking that draft pick, if you don't have the tools on the team to make him successful. So
tell that to the Jets.
Well, they got Saleh now. We'll see how that goes. I mean, finally they got Adam Gase out of town. I swear, if any NFL team hires Adam Gase again, I honestly don't know what is going on in their mind.
like I could get it. Like if you want to keep him as an OC, like he could be a decent OC. He was supposed to be this just like Harbaugh in Michigan. He was supposed to be this quarterback whisperer and hasn't done jack with any of the quarterbacks that he's had. So
Maybe So when I first started hearing about Adam Gase, like obviously from Denver, he came over from Denver to Chicago with Jay Cutler. Made Jay Cutler what he was. Jay Cutler is what it is. He threw for a ton of yards. Had some decent games and stuff like that. But it was never anything revolutionary. And the fact that like the biggest thing with Adam Gase to me is he doesn't run offenses where you throw the ball to the running back.
Right.
So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Anyways, moving on. So like I said, if Justin Fields goes 3, it kind of opens up what does Atlanta do? And I know, like you said, they have a lot of holes. Now, I went a little off script, something I haven't heard. I actually have them taking Trey Lance if Justin Fields was taken.
Interesting.
Mainly because I think Trey
Yeah.
Lance. I'm sorry. I think Trey Lance is.
No.
I don't want to say a project quarterback. I don't think. Do I think that? I think he reminds me a lot of. I don't want to say Baker. I just want to because Baker was taken number 1 overall. But that type that where like it's going to be okay if you sit him for a year, and that was actually the objective for Baker. They had no intention of starting Baker his rookie year. He was supposed to sit behind Tyrod until he got hurt, and I think that you can kind of do that with Trey Lance too. And when you have Matt Ryan, who is a veteran, a very good veteran, to be able to learn from, I mean it's a little bit different. Trey Lance is a little bit more mobile than Matt Ryan is, but he's still a big dude. And when you surround him, like you said, with you've got Calvin Ridley and you've got Julio Jones, and maybe they want to work on a running game a little bit because Todd Gurley hasn't done much yet. But I mean, it's one of those things. Like if at some point you have to find a successor for Matt Ryan, otherwise you're going to turn into Pittsburgh and have no successor for Ben Roethlisberger.
I 100% agree. Like I totally like that. Like I was saying earlier, if they took Trey Lance, wouldn't fault it at all. It's a great system for him to go into. As long as they address the needs on the defense, get some more offensive line for him. He can sit a year behind Matt Ryan, year or two, to be honest. Sit them behind them. He's got Calvin Ridley for the future. Hayden Hurst is there, and Todd Gurley isn't on the team anymore. I don't believe that he was re-signed at all.
Definitely missed that.
Yeah, he was a 1 year. It was only a 1 year deal.
Well, I remember that. I remember
they
that
brought him back. So I don't believe. Yeah. But I don't believe that he was ever re-signed by anybody. So, but for me, I've got Kyle Pitts coming off the board here. I think that with Matt Ryan right now, it's a win-lose situation, and to compete with the teams in the NFC South, you got to get the weapons for Matt Ryan. And obviously, he's got the weapons, but you see when Julio goes down, the production starts to lose out.
Right. No, I
it's
agree.
like a direct correlation when Julio's not in there. Yeah. So I think that you get a one-in-a-generational talent, Kyle Pitts. I mean, they're comparing him to Vernon Davis, who had an amazing NFL career.
Right.
And he's just an absolute freak. Like, you can line this kid up wherever.
Right.
And
he's almost
basically
a wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he's a mismatch for a linebacker because he's faster than him, and he's bigger than a safety. So you can't cover him with anybody. So, so for me, I totally see Kyle Pitts coming off the board here for them.
I like that pick. I mean, that was probably where I was going to go. I really debated that one. I thought to myself, I think they have other holes, but because I wouldn't say they got rid of Austin Cooper, but I don't know. Do you turn a guy? I mean, at that point, is he like the best player in the draft at that point? I mean, with all the other quarterbacks off, I mean, probably. So,
yeah. I mean, you can make the case for either Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts, and then at that point, they got Calvin Ridley and Julio. You don't need Jamar, so
that's true.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on. We'll go to 5. Bengals. I would imagine that you and I probably have the same person, and that would be Penei Sewell. Yes, no, maybe so.
Yep, Penei Sewell.
Protect
Yep,
Joe
that's.
Burrow
I
at
think
all
the
costs. My God.
I think the picture of the new uniforms where he's sitting there and you see the nasty scar on his knee, I think that says it all. Do I think that the Bengals do that? I really don't know because you hear the reports coming out that Joe is like he wants Jamar Chase, and I get it, but you got to protect the kid. They picked up offensive tackle from the Vikings. They got him in there, but it's like you can kick him out, put Penei at guard or something like that. But yeah, biggest thing, man. It's just like you got to look at what the Dallas Cowboys have done for the longest time, and they've never been afraid to invest in the O line.
Right.
Invest. That's
Right.
it. So
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if you have Jamar Chase or AJ. Did they sign AJ? Re-sign AJ Green? Or did they release him? I can't remember.
they did not. AJ Green did not get
Right.
re-signed.
So I understand the
Yeah.
need for wanting a wide receiver, and then obviously you have that LSU connection with Joe Burrow, but like, it's not going to matter if the dude's sitting in a hospital bed again because they don't have anybody to protect
Yeah,
him.
and here's the thing is that like I actually was listening to another analyst talk about this, and he said, what's a better combination? Penei and a later tight end or a later wide receiver in the second round. Like, there's possibility Kadarius Toney, Rondale Moore,
Right.
Elijah Moore, Amon St. Brown, one of those guys being available. Or would you rather have Jamar Chase and, like the 10th or 11th offensive
Right.
lineman, like
Right.
in the league?
The
So,
wide receivers, the last two drafts, honestly, have been deep. Like you can get really the last
Yeah.
couple drafts. I mean, you hear some of the names, these wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 guys that are putting up big numbers that didn't go in the first round, didn't
Yeah.
go in the second round. Some of them went in the third or fourth round. And
Yeah.
I agree. I think that you stay away from the name and you go, all right, what is our need? All right, we can get somebody later in the draft. So
Well, and you think about it, so you invest in the offensive line, and it doesn't just help out Joe Burrow. You got
Right.
Joe Mixon back there. Joe Mixon needs some help
Right.
to stay healthy. So,
right,
give him
because
help all around.
personally, I think Joe Mixon is a guy that can put up, 1,500 yards every season. The problem is that there's nobody to protect, and then they're playing catch up all the time. So Joe Burrow's throwing the ball, or whoever's back there before that's throwing the ball 50 times a game, and Joe Mixon's just this, sometime check down guy, which he's great in PPR. Don't get me wrong, but it's tough for him to break off those 150 yard games because there's nobody to protect. But,
Exactly. Yep.
all right, Dolphins at 6. This is where I have Kyle Pitts going off the board.
Okay.
I think that's I have
I've got
them.
Jamar.
Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
I got them taking Jamar Chase with Kyle Pitts already off the board. Easy pick here for me.
Right.
You got to give two of the weapons. Give two of the weapons. He'll have Devontae Parker, Jamar Chase, Mike Gesicki, and then who's the other wide receiver that's there? But give him the weapons. Give
Right.
him every opportunity to succeed. And if you're still not convinced, then move on. I'm not convinced of Tua. So
Neither am
yeah.
I. No, I agree. That's why, I saw that on my board. I had Pitts there. I think Pitts is going to go somewhere in the top 10 on my board. I still had him there, so I was like, they need weapons for Tua. Period. Tua has to have weapons.
Mhm.
And I'm with you. I'm not a believer in Tua. I didn't think so, even when he got drafted or before he got drafted. But like you said, you have to give him a chance, and you have to see. If you don't surround him by weapons, you're going to run into a Sam Darnold situation where is he good? Is he not good? We didn't give him a chance. So, because I think Sam Darnold's going to ball out in Carolina. So,
Yep. Agreed.
so we're kind of on the same wide receiver, tight end. I mean, Kyle Pitts is whatever you want to call him. You catch the damn ball. Let's see, Lions at 7. This is where I have Jamar Chase coming off the board.
Okay.
I mean,
that would be a dream come true for the Lions. Like,
That's what I'm
absolute
saying.
dream come true if they can get Jamar. Yeah.
absolutely.
So,
Pairing
I've
him
got
with
wide
Jared
receivers as
Goff.
well.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, but we're a little delayed on the
Yeah,
talking. I
we
don't know
are.
if it's the internet still or anything, but like, yeah, when I start talking, it comes through a little bit delayed for you. So yeah, I'll let you go. You go ahead. You do yours, and then
All
I'll
right.
come in with mine, and then
All
we
right.
can move
So,
on to the next
anyways,
one
I
after. That
have.
way, we can keep it all rolling.
That's fine. All right. So I had Jamar Chase coming off here. I mean, obviously, if he's there, the Lions have to take him. Dude's a monster. He's going to improve that offense. You got Jared Goff back there now. It's going to give him another weapon to throw to. And I believe, I mean, because they lost Galladay, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Galladay went to the Giants. Yes, no, maybe so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Their wide receiver core is Brashad Perryman and Tyrell Williams. So wide receiver is an absolute must.
Absolutely. So whoever's available there, whether it end up being Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle, whoever it may be, and I imagine that's probably where you
Yeah, I've got Devonte Smith going here. Next wide receiver off the board.
are. Right.
Personally, I think Jalen Waddle's the better talent as my number two here. But I think just the flashiness with the Heisman Trophy winner, all that, Devonte is the next wide receiver that'll come off the board here.
No, I agree. That said, if I didn't have Jamar Chase more, that's what I'd already gone to. I agree with you too. I think that you know even the even the draft prospects. If you look at the order, a lot of people have Jalen Waddle ahead of Devonta Smith, but I think Devontae Smith goes before Jalen Waddle. I don't know why. And I agree. I think it's just the flashiness. I think that's what it is. He's just this long, lanky, but this dude just puts up numbers. He's the Heisman Trophy. I mean, but yeah, I agree. Lions have to
Yeah.
do something there at the wide receiver core to do something for Goff or Goff. Um, let's see. Panthers at 8. This is where it's so tricky. So you got obviously you need to protect for Sam Darnold and poor Christian McCaffrey. You've got to do something for him as well. I have them taking Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech off the board here. Um, hopefully, it helps out the O line, open up some holes for Christian McCaffrey. By God, protect Sam Darnold and let him be able to throw the ball.
I full on agree. I don't have Darisaw here. I've got them taking Rayshawn Slater.
Yeah.
Still offensive line. Yeah, I mean you can't make the mistake that the Jets did. Jets never brought in any protection for Sam Darnold until last year when they drafted Becton. So yeah, bring him in. There's enough weapons there. Protect him and just don't let him ball out. So
I agree. All right, keep going here. Let's see, Panthers. Now we got the Broncos. So Broncos at 9. If we were doing trades and everything, I mean, there's a part of me that thinks that maybe, that the Broncos may actually trade up. But since we're not doing that, we're just going straight up. Them at 9. I have them taking Micah Parsons. They've had there's such a it's so hard to touch on the Broncos to me because I feel like you could take a quarterback, which is why I would trade up because do you give Drew Lock another? I mean, I think they need to fill Drew Lock out. It's my thing. Like when they drafted Drew Lock, I was excited for him. I liked Drew Lock in college, but they have other weapons, and they've taken. I think it's one of those teams that there's just so many holes. I don't know which one to fill here. So, like they've always been, even the year that they won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. I mean, they won that Super Bowl. Yes, you had Peyton Manning, great, but they won that Super Bowl because of their defense, and they've had that dominant defensive team. And I think that you continue with that. You still try out Drew Lock. You're not going to be able to solve your problems in 1 year. That's a team I think that has too many holes to be able to solve everything in 1 year. So I think you start building that defense back up and keep yourself in games. That's the biggest thing. Give Drew Lock that chance to try and go down and score and win games by having a better defense, to having a faster defense to be able to keep the game closer and not get blown out to where you don't make Drew Lock throw the ball 50 times a game and to be able to run a normal offense. That's where I'm at. That's why I've got them taking a linebacker in the first round.
I can see that. I've seen Michael being taken a lot here in some drafts and everything that I've looked at. And it's been up and down for Micah along the draft boards on where he's going to be taken at. For me personally, I don't believe in Drew Lock. I don't think that you can have all of the weapons that he's got there in Denver, whether if it's a coaching thing or not, you did the experiment, you gave him the reins last year. I've got them taking Trey Lance here. And even if you want to let Drew Lock ride out another year, let Trey Lance sit in the back or, have a quarterback competition and, have him go out and go win that starting job.
Right.
So, you got two young guys, give them the motivation, one of them's going to pick it up and run with it. So
I really contemplated. That's why I said, if we were doing trades, I would probably have Denver trade up, just because they would be the team that I can see maybe calling the Falcons at 4 and being like, hey, we'll give you first round and maybe second round this year, second round next year, and then you'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, especially if Justin Fields was there too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Absolutely.
I easily could see them going after that, or even
if Justin Fields were to end up in Denver, bye Drew Lock. Drew Lock will be a backup quarterback for probably the rest of his career at that point.
Yep.
So yeah, we're starting to get a little bit further apart on our picks, but that's okay because it'll be interesting come Thursday night to see where we're at. All right, Cowboys at 10.
Now I bet this next pick though. Yeah, I bet this next pick here at Cowboys. I'm willing to bet we both got the same guy. It's almost a unanimous thing here.
So yes and no. This is another team because we all know who Jerry is. I can honestly see Jerry trying to trade up to take Kyle Pitts just because it's Jerry. And he is just talked over and over about how in love with Kyle Pitts he is. But it's not going to matter if you score 45 points a game because your defense is so terrible that you're going to give up 50 and lose every single time. So rebuild the defense and take Patrick Surtain right here. This is where you take him. Get him off the board. Start improving your defense. Do something. Give Dak a chance, man. Dak's putting up just ungodly numbers at the beginning of the season last year. Honestly, if he stays healthy, I think that he's in the MVP race. I legitimately think so. Even though the Cowboys are still going to go 7-9.
I can see that.
Because their defense is so trash. At least, he's still good. I think that, he's on pace at that last year for, well over 5,000 yards. I think that he just puts up stupid numbers. But once again, I will say this, though, if you think about it. If his numbers were probably so good because their defense was so bad that he had to throw the ball to keep up. They were always playing from behind, or they were in these shootouts that he had to throw the ball to be able to keep up. So, you can take it for what it is. Yeah, Dak had a great year before he got hurt, but maybe he had a great year because his defense is so terrible that they had to throw the ball. So,
yeah, 100% agree, dude. I've got Patrick Surtain here too. If it wasn't for the fact of Caleb Farley's back injuries and his medicals and the whole fact that the draft couldn't happen at Indy this year, and half the teams, this is the biggest thing that I think we're going to run into with the draft is it was only 150 players, I believe is what I heard, that were able to bring in their medicals. So we have all these players that we have no idea what exactly is going on with them.
Right.
So I think if Caleb Farley, his medicals had checked out, I think he'd be the pick here because I do think that Caleb Farley is a better cornerback. But, Patrick Surtain, look at the guys, same thing we were talking about Mac Jones. On the flip side of that, Patrick Surtain's got to guard Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle every day in practice.
Right.
So,
No, I agree, man. I think that
Diamond, what is it?
He's
Diamond,
one of those,
Sharp, and Diamond?
Yeah. I think he's one of those that you can throw into that defense and just his presence alone, he's already going to make them a better defense. You could save yourself on probably 10 points a game off of what they're doing just by adding him to that defense. But, Let's see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were saying there. Let's see. Giants at 11. This is where I have Devontae Smith coming off the board. Um, I think that if he actually did last that long, if he dropped that low, the Giants would be silly not to take him. Um, they did add Galladay, um, and you're getting Saquon back, but this is a prove it year for Daniel Jones. Um, they're starting to give him the weapons, and if you draft somebody like Jalen, even if Jalen Waddle's there, Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith, like you're adding. I mean, if you think about like OBJ was gone before Jones got there. That's the year that they traded for him, or traded him away.
Mm-hmm.
Then like they had Golden Tate. The problem, I mean, they've had Sterling Shepard and they have Darius Slayton? No. Yes.
Darius Slayton. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and then you add, like I said, he's had some weapons. Now Saquon getting hurt didn't help his cause, but like with a healthy Saquon and you got Kenny Galladay, and then you add somebody like a Devontae Smith, you're giving Daniel Jones the weapons that he needs to at least compete in the NFC East. The division's not going to be strong. Maybe the Cowboys get a little bit better this year, but I think that you have a good playmaker like that with the return of Saquon and the rest of the offensive weapons that they have. I think that gives them a chance to at least compete in the NFC East. So,
yeah, completely agree. I've got a Jalen Waddle here as a Devontae coming off earlier. So yeah, Jalen Waddle here. From what I've heard, is that Gettleman is for the first time in 10 years now is looking to trade down in the draft, which is heresy, I guess, in Giants land. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. The other big thing that I've heard, and the thing that he likes to do is I could easily see him going offensive line here or taking defensive line and going with Kwity Paye. I've heard a lot of ramblings coming out that Kwity Paye is tied to Giants.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick, man.
The kid's a beast. So.
He's a monster. I mean, watching him at Michigan, like there weren't very many bright spots, really. I mean, let's just be honest, really the last like decade. But he's been a bright spot. He's been a bright spot on that defense. It was always fun to watch him, at least until we played Ohio State. But but I agree. Like Kwity Paye wouldn't be a bad pick, but receiver wise, I mean, I think that you have two really good ones. But like trading back actually makes a lot of sense because we keep saying that. The receiving class the last few years has always been deep. You can find the little gems back in the second, third round. So if that's what you're looking for, then, what was the other team that we said, like, the Bengals, like same kind of situation, like, really feel the need. You've picked up Galladay, so is a really top receiver like that something that you need, or do you want to work on the offensive line to be able to give Saquon bigger holes and Daniel Jones some more protection, and then find a receiver down in the second round, whatever it may be, and pick up picks in the process. Like that honestly, that makes the most sense. Does it happen? We'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Eagles. Oh, that's really funny. You got the Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles back to back to back. You got the Eagles at 12.
Yeah.
And this is where I have Jalen Waddle coming off. Like we're literally like back, like you're taking yours one right before me every single time. But yeah, I have Jalen Waddle coming off of here. It is no hidden thing to say that the Eagles wide receiving core has just like it just hasn't been there. Like they've gotten hurt. Yeah. I mean, and it really kind of stunk for Carson Wentz because Carson Wentz, he had Alshon Jeffrey at one point, but Alshon Jeffrey was always hurt. And then they bring back Deshaun Jackson last year, and he got hurt. Like never like, and that was I've never been a big Carson Wentz fan, but like it's kind of that same Darnold situation. Like even the weapons that you did have, they kept getting hurt. So like. I think that you finally need to actually build something. You need to actually get guys that are going to stay healthy, receivers that are going to show out there. On top of it, you took Jalen Reagor last year. So, now you've got Jalen Reagor, which he should get more play time. I thought that he was extremely unused last year. for what he could do, because there was flashes of times where he would actually show out. I had him on my fantasy team. That's the only reason why I know. And I think
I think the biggest thing with him, with Reagor, though, is that Reagor was coming off that ankle injury, and they wanted to ease him back in. And I think basically at the point, the team was just like, we're not going to do good. Let's not ruin our first round draft pick.
Well, so, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, like, as terrible as they were actually playing, they were still in the hunt. That's because it is the NFC East. So like, at what point is it like, sure, we might make the playoffs, but we're not going to make a run. And once again, young quarterback, going to have Jalen Hurts there. Like, why not? And who did I say? I think I had, Jalen Waddle? Yeah, I had Jalen Waddle going here. So now you've got Jalen Hurts thrown to Jalen Waddle. Like, good combo.
Who knows if it's Jalen Hurts, though? I mean, the new coach, who apparently plays rock paper scissors with the draft prospects on who he should pick, which wild. I don't understand that. Whatever. Maybe it's a new thing. He's a young coach.
Hey, we'll man, I think it's one of those hit and miss type deals. So it's like, maybe I'll hit on it, maybe I won't. So why don't I just take it by chance?
Yeah. Well, but I mean, the thing that he had said, though, is that he doesn't even know if Jalen Hurts is going to be the starting quarterback. I'm sorry. The last time I checked, it's Jalen Hurts and who is it? Baltimore's old quarterback, the worst quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. And you're going to make him compete against Jalen Hurts? Joe Flacco. Yes, thank you. And you're going to make him compete against him? Like, I'm sorry, what?
No, that's not.
I'm not an NFL coach, but okay.
But a lot of us, yeah, sure, I might not be able to run a playbook, but I can tell you right now, I might not be a great coach, but I think that I would be all right GM. Compared to some of the decisions that a lot of these other GMs make, like, I feel like the general populace of NFL fans could do what we are doing. Like, up until the Browns the last 2 years, like, I feel like I could have done better in choosing the individuals over the course of the last 15 years for the Browns prior to bringing in Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski and all these guys. Like, it's terrible. Like how do you miss? It is 100%. It is an impressive skill for you to miss so often. Like, I don't even know how you have a job when you miss that often. But it is what it is, man. I'm kind of getting
and for all of our future listeners out there who may end up listening to this, if they don't know already, they'll learn very quickly. Scott is a diehard Browns fan, and I am a diehard Bears fan. So if anybody knows about pain and suffering, we are your pros.
Exactly. So. 100%. I mean, I could show you around the man cave right now. It's covered in Michigan stuff, but I have some Brown stuffs, and I actually dug up my I got 2 years ago. I completely forgot that I had it, so I start cleaning stuff out today. I bought it's like a rookie plaque type deal of like a big picture of Baker in the game that they beat the Jets in the Color Rush uniforms, his first win after Tyrod got hurt. And then
nice.
I think it's his rookie card and another card. And I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh my God, I have Baker's rookie card. So I need him to go to Hall of Fame. So.
Nice, dude. There you go. That's legit, man. I've got them taking Rashad Bateman. So I've got wide receiver as well. I think they should go offensive line here. I see them just taking another wide receiver.
Yeah.
It's just what they're like. Yeah, it just seems like what they're gonna do, I guess.
All right. Let's see. Chargers at 13. I have Rashawn Slater coming off here. I know you had him going much earlier in the draft. I don't remember.
And I've got the flip flop of what you did earlier. Yeah, so I've got Darius Hall coming off here. So hey, you picked a dime. You picked a dime in Herbert. Just protect the kid. He's going to do amazing things.
Exactly.
Just protect him.
100%. Yeah, and I think Herbert was that sneaky guy too. Like, I didn't even think, even when they took him, I was like, oh, that's a terrible pick. That's a terrible pick. And then the kid went out and balled out. So, yeah. Alan's a big Oregon fan.
Go Ducks. Go Ducks, baby.
He's like Oregon. He's like all over the map.
Ducks.
He's like Oregon, Penn State, friggin' Bears. Like, he just got somewhere down the line. You just go from east to west, I guess. Um,
And none of them are great teams. So it's like I'm not a bandwagon at all.
Oregon had their years and they had their uniforms, and I think that's what
They
you
did.
fell in love with.
They did. I did. That is what I felt. I fell in love with LeGarrette Blount's right hook. Is actually what I fell in love
Love
with.
it.
So that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. We both went O line there. 14 Vikings. This is where I have Kwity Paye coming off. Um, Vikings is, to me, they're exactly like how I said the Broncos. They're that team that I just don't know like what they need, because on paper it looks like that they should be good because you have Kirk Cousins and now you have Justin Jefferson. You know, you did have Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. Now you have Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, and you have Dalvin Cook. Like, your offense should be extremely explosive. So, you know, like, I feel like if Dalvin Cook is getting as much space as he is, like, do you really need to work on that offensive line, or is it just maybe Kirk Cousins is just that bad? But you know, I once again, like, I think with the Broncos, I went with a linebacker, like, work on the defense, and maybe Kirk Cousins doesn't have to work so hard. And here I have, like I said, I have them taking Kwity Paye, work on the defense a little bit harder, and maybe you improve your defense, and Kirk Cousins doesn't have to throw a ball a million times, and you just can keep handing it off to Dalvin Cook and let him run for 2,500 yards a year. I don't know.
That's where I'm at. I'm on the same side of the ball. They've got to get some presence on the quarterback. Their defense was absolutely atrocious last year. It started to come on later in the year, but to me their biggest need is that pass rush, and that's where I've got Micah Parsons coming off. He's still sitting there. I think it's an absolute slam dunk for them to pick up Micah Parsons. He can cover. He's fast. He can, put pressure on the quarterback. So, I would love nothing more than to see Micah Parsons take Aaron Rodgers out.
There you go.
Just would be amazing. So,
all right. Let's see. Next is you got Patriots at 15, and in my draft, I had Mac Jones falling all the way to the Patriots at 15, and I think that if he's there, Bill's going to take him. I don't see why he wouldn't. Like, he kind of fits that quintessential Patriots way, that Patriots offense. He's not a mobile quarterback. He's really the complete opposite of what Cam Newton is. He's that pocket presence guy. He's used to throwing to studs. Maybe that's going to be a problem. But with Cam Newton there, like, at least you have given yourself. He did stay. Like, Cam is still there. I didn't miss something, right?
Yes. Okay. No, Cam is their starting quarterback.
I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. But yeah, if you've got Cam there, like, you don't need to.
We need to do a free agency recap.
Yeah, well, I've been busy. Let's just. It's been a busy last few months. But I mean, if Mac Jones is there, I mean, you don't even have to start him. Like, he's a mid-first round quarterback at that point. Like, nobody's expecting you to start him. You let him sit behind Cam. Do I think that he's going to learn a lot from Cam? Probably not. Maybe about how to be a professional, sort of. But I don't think that at least it gives him a chance to at least see the NFL offense run from the sideline. And, if Cam becomes too expensive or Cam's not what you thought that he was going to be, all right, now give Mac Jones a chance. But in saying that, they need to still continue to give weapons, because that's something that Cam didn't have, and that's something, honestly, that Brady wasn't going to have, which is why one of the reasons I think Brady left. Brady knew that he wasn't going to have the weapons, and honestly, it's very, very hard. He had those years where he would take these teams to the playoffs that their wide receiver cores were just trash. It's just that Brady was that good, and their defenses were that good. But now that their defense is kind of on the decline and their offense is on the decline, they need to start kind of building those things up. And why not try to find your quarterback in the future? If everybody thinks Mac Jones is that guy, go for
it. Yeah, I'm same. I've got Mac Jones here. With the no trades in this, us not projecting those or anything, just leaving the order how it is. Easily Mac Jones here. Have him sit behind Cam. Cam's going to get hurt. You put Mac Jones in, and you see what you get. So.
Yeah, I agree. All right, and this is where what do I got going on here? Cardinals at 16. I have them taking Caleb Farley. I know that you had mentioned stuff about his medical records and everything else, but the kid's a good corner, and take a shot on him, improve the defense. You've got a great offense, and I mean Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, and you got to. I honestly don't know that much about the Cardinals, but I know that you have studs there. You have a powerful offense. I mean, they went toe to toe with Buffalo late in the season. Like they have the offense. You've got to improve the defense here.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing there, I've heard ramblings that they're possibly looking at trading up for a wide receiver, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but they've got some picks that they have taken that just really haven't panned out. But I've got them taking Zaven Collins here, linebacker. You took Isaiah Simmons last year, top of the draft, not top of the draft, but early in the draft. Isaiah Simmons is an absolute stud. You take Zaven Collins here to throw him in the defense. You got to eventually stop somebody, and when you're playing in the NFC West, you still got to compete with now Matt Stafford, and then you got to compete with Russell Wilson still. So that defense loaded up with a high-powered offense.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to point out is that it's not necessarily sometimes like you look at the NFC East, and maybe your best thing is to just like the Cowboys, just build your offense. Like, I mean, 6 games a year, you're going to get to play 3 sub-mediocre teams that if you can put up 40 points a game, you're going to beat them. Whereas like the NFC West is kind of the opposite. Like you're playing in a high-powered offense conference or division, so you kind of have to build that defense to be able to keep yourself in those games. So,
Yep.
Let's see. We're on the Raiders at 17. The Raiders. Oh God, the Raiders. There were times last year where I thought the Raiders were going to be good, like when they beat the Chiefs, and then they go out and like drop. Or who was it that they played? Was it Miami? I think. Well, yeah, it was Miami. It was the Tannehill game. It was not Tannehill. It was the Ryan Fitzpatrick game, the face mask game. That one, because I remember I was sitting. Yep. I remember sitting outside the Chow Hall in Djibouti, and I was like, I had just gotten off the midship, and I was trying to pick up internet, sitting down, waiting outside the Chow Hall, and I saw because I had picked the Raiders, and I saw they had taken the lead or tied it up or whatever it may be, and then that damn play happened, and they went in and lost the game. So the Raiders to me are the Raiders they irritate me, and I don't really know where they should go because who was it they just picked their running back that they just picked up, even though that they have Josh Jacobs.
Love it. They took Arizona's running back. I mean, I can tell you where I'm going with this because I don't understand what the whole point of what they did was, but the Raiders essentially jettisoned their entire offensive line. Like they're almost building from the ground up on offensive linemen. So to me, it's it should be an easy pick here when you got Mike Mayock, who you literally used to do exactly what we're doing right now and analyze drafts and tell teams who they should pick. I've got them taking boy from now that they're in Vegas, I guess. Used to be California boy, but Elijah Vera Tucker
out of USC. That's exactly why I have
offensive lineman. Kid's just an absolute stud. So, I got him going there. But the whole running back thing, he was in Miami before that.
Kenyon Drake?
I know we sound like super professionals when we're doing this. Kenyon Drake, yep. Kenyon Drake. And so they got Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs.
Yeah,
And they paid Kenyon Drake a good amount of money, too. So
the only thing I can think of, honestly, is that maybe they're trying to do that. I don't get to talk a lot of great things about the Browns, so I'm just gonna toot our own horn here. But I think maybe teams see the Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt kind of duo and think that's what we need because they see how dominant Nick Chubb is at the end of games because Kareem Hunt's able to take that load off of him throughout the game. And then Nick Chubb is just he's so energized and he's relaxed and rested in the fourth quarter that he just they just hand the ball off to him and they take off. And maybe that's what they're going for. Maybe they're going for that type of deal is kind of split the load and try to not wear Josh Jacobs out and I don't know. But like I agree with you. Offensive line wise, I think that's where you're going to go. If you're going to bring in another running back, obviously you're trying to push the running game here. So why not bring in somebody who's going to be able to build holes for you guys? So.
Yeah, I don't understand the whole bringing in another running back when you have probably one of the best pass catchers that has come out of college, who has yet to catch, I think, more than 3 balls a game, is what I believe the stat was. They just do not throw the ball to Josh Jacobs, which absolutely blows my mind. Yeah. The kid would honestly, like, I think he could beat out Christian McCaffrey if they threw him the ball and got him open in space and gave him the ball.
It may be, you never know.
To be fully honest.
All right, moving on here. Next up is the Dolphins for their second pick in the draft in the first round. And this is where I have them going defense. I had them, like they said, their first pick, taking Kyle Pitts, working on the offense. And here I have them working on the defense and taking, I'm going to jack his name up, but Azeez Ojulari from Georgia, edge rusher. Dolphins are that team that, you go 11-5 and miss the playoffs. They can score. We've already said that. Like they've got guys that they've surrounded Tua with, so the thing is they have a good defense. And I think here you just try to improve it a little bit more. I think you could go a receiver here and you go Kyle Pitts and another receiver, I guess. And now you're, loaded up on offense, but it just, the biggest thing about some of these best defenses is just depth. So add somebody else to that rotation so we can rotate guys instead of relying on the front 4, front 5 guys to do all the work all the time with those subs.
Yeah, I got Najee going here. First running back off the board. I got Najee going. Team back up with Tua. You, like I said earlier, with the Jamar Chase pick, you give him every weapon you can. They've got no running game to speak of at all.
Right.
And you give him probably the best running back, out this year, almost undeniably. Give him the best running back. You put all the cards on the table for Tua and say, hey, it's your time to succeed. Yep. If you don't, see ya.
Nope, I agree, man. It's not a bad pick. I honestly had thought about that one too because I was like, who do they? But they had, I had the kid on my team too. Who's the kid that they have now?
Oh yeah.
The kid, he was I think he was a rookie last year because he was because I ended up picking him off of waivers. I can't remember his name. I don't know. Like you said, we sound super professional.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah, that one guy that did really well for that Dolphins team.
That one football team, right? Yeah.
All right, moving on. We've got good old Washington football team here at 19, and they're the same thing as a couple of these other like lower teams here. Is that there's a lot of holes that they need to fill. Now their defense was a very big bright spot last year. That kept them in a lot of games. That kept them really competitive in the NFC East. And, the question is, do you build on that? Or honestly, I think that this is where you have a good defense. You need to improve the offense. Alex Smith has retired. Now you're sitting here with, help me out. Who'd they bring in?
Oh, he's gone from the NFL.
No.
The kid they drafted 2 years ago, he's...
because Dwayne Haskins.
Oh, they got Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I was saying I knew that they had traded for somebody because Alex Smith retired.
Yeah, Dwayne Haskins is out.
Dwayne Haskins went to Pittsburgh, didn't he? Or he?
No, Dwayne Haskins is not in the league anymore.
Oh, I definitely missed that.
Yeah, he's gone.
All right. So for those who don't know,
Yeah.
don't think that
and then they didn't trade for.
Wait, go ahead.
They didn't trade for Ryan Fitzpatrick. He came over in free agency too.
Okay. So for those that don't know,
yeah.
I'm not dumb, but when I said I've been busy the last couple months, I was deployed for over in Djibouti for ended up being about 7 months. And granted, yes, I did try to keep up with things, but really over the course of the last couple months, when you have your free agency and everything else going on, you know, I had come home, then I was in quarantine, and then I got back to work, and I had to get everything checked out at the tower, and then I've been doing a lot of other stuff, and like that's why this is actually taking a little bit longer for us to try to get this thing started, because between Alan getting back in training post COVID here in Boise, and you know, like I said, me, I have 3 kids and a wife and a bunch of animals, so like me getting kind of established back home and everything, it's been very hard for me to try to keep up with every single thing that's gone on. In fact, I was 15 minutes late of trying to get everything together today because my wife decided that we were going to babysit 4 kids along with the 2 that we already had at the house today. So trying to get home from golf, like I love her. She let me go golf today while she was babysitting, but you know, getting home and feeding the kids and everything else, it's just a hectic lifestyle. So please don't think that I'm dumb by any means. I do a lot of research. That's actually why people were telling us, you guys should really start a podcast. Like, you guys talk about sports all the time. You guys seem very knowledgeable. And I promise from here on out, like, it's just taking the time to get our research done is more than anything else. But so, yeah, don't think that I'm dumb. Don't think that Alan's done either.
We'll be better. We'll be better with the names. Yeah, we'll be better with the names and everything, but don't worry. We know exactly what we're talking about.
It's the names. Like, we know that guy from that team. We just have to figure out their names.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, with Washington, I have them taking Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State. Work on the O-line. Poor Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know, if the guy would just have an O-line to protect him just once, you know, I mean, he's the Amish hammer. You know, like, let the man do his thing. That's all I'm saying.
I got them taking offensive line too. I actually we'll get to Tevin Jenkins here in a minute, but I've got them taking Sam Cosmi. So for the same thing, protect him. You got Curtis Samuel that they just picked up. He's got the weapons there. So just give him a shot. You know, defense is great. I'd be willing to bet that Washington actually takes that division this year coming up, as long as everybody stays healthy. Yeah. So
I absolutely agree there. I think that they are the team to. I guess the Cowboys are the team to beat, but I agree with you. As dominant as their defense was last year, and now having a proven veteran quarterback back there that can take the reins and, you know, give them a little bit of protection and some targets, I think. You know, and I think that you end up having a breakout year from Terry McLaurin too. Now that he's got somebody that actually knows how to throw the ball.
Oh, that kid is
like, if he's available to me, like early in our draft, like, I'll probably take him. If he's not a keeper, he might be a keeper this year.
Oh yeah, he's getting kept this year. Sorry, bud.
No, you have him.
I do.
Son of a. Do. All right. So, anyways, let's see. Here we go. The Bears at 20. I'm so interested to hear what Alan says. So I'll go first just to see what you think. But
okay,
man, the Bears. You have QB1, the Red Rocket. I don't know, man. Like, they're so spotty. I don't really know if their offense is good or not, because they haven't had a quarterback to really prove whether their offense is good. Like, their defense is good, and this is why I made this pick, because I think if Dalton can just do half of what any of those other guys have done, their defense can keep them in games. So I have them taking Asante Samuel Jr. here out of Florida State, and continuing to improve on the defense and having another good corner.
Okay, I don't hate that pick.
Okay.
If I went cornerback, I would probably take Greg Newsome here. I've got Greg Newsome a little bit higher than Asante. But I actually, I do like the offense. We're getting back some pieces this year. The talent that's there is good talent. Mitch showed that it's good
No, I
talent.
agree.
It's just a fact of the matter. It's a fact of the matter is that nobody can protect the quarterback. So I've got an absolute beast here, which I said we'll talk about him in a minute. I've got Tevin Jenkins going
There you
here. You could either flip flop Sam Cosmi from the pick before and bring Tevin Jenkins here. But either one of those guys, man, there's some absolute studs out there. And I think that the biggest thing is Andy Dalton's not the guy. So go get your quarterback in round 2. Go take Mon, go take the quarterback out of Stanford. I honestly wouldn't be mad about Kellen Mond in the second round. But if you're going to take one of those guys, you got to protect him. So
that's
to
true.
me, if this is a rebuild, cool. Rebuild it. Let's fire. I'm everything I hashtag on Instagram now is hashtag fire Ryan Pace. I think the guy's a joke. Matt Nagy isn't who he is. I think if Mitch Trubisky was on any other team, which I think he went to the greatest team he could have gone to and sat behind Josh Allen, I think he'll be, nothing more than a backup. But I think it was a great spot for him to go to.
I agree, man.
But yeah, so you got to protect the Red Rocket.
Yeah. So we throw trades. So say we threw trades back in there. Do you see the Bears maybe trading up to add that quarter? Do you think they're one of the ones that can maybe give Atlanta a call and start, especially if Justin Fields is there at 4, do you see them maybe calling up Atlanta and being like, hey, we'll give you a first rounder this year, first rounder next year, and maybe a couple second rounders or second and third,
easily.
Yeah.
Easily. Justin Fields, Trey Lance, easily have them calling up. My wife's trying to do a dance for me because she's getting ready right now. So
Andrea, that is a dumb.
Come on, I gotta focus here. Easily, 100%. I'm actually if we were doing trades, I'd be projecting, and this is optimism coming from a Bears fan, but I think that Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy have to make a splash. They're calling Andy Dalton quarterback 1, but are they? We're really just putting on a facade here. Also, at the same time, I'm still not ruling out Russell Wilson. There's been talks that it's not a done deal that they are keeping him. So I think that we could see some, whether he goes to the Bears or not, I think we could see him possibly being moved with Seattle not having any picks, essentially. I think they have 3 total picks the entire draft. So I could easily see them getting rid of Wilson and getting into this draft this year. But 100%.
What do you think if they do now that they have Dalton, maybe they trade for Dalton as a bargaining chip? Hey, Seattle, we'll give you Andy Dalton, our first rounder this year, and maybe a first round pick next year for Russell Wilson. If I'm Seattle, I'm
sign me up. 100%.
Yeah, I think they're stupid because I think Russ is a stud. But if you're having that many issues and you're just devoted to Pete Carroll, why not? I mean, Andy Dalton. Okay, I say this: Andy Dalton isn't a terrible quarterback. There are much worse quarterbacks out there that you could end up having. Now, do I think that you're going to have a very happy locker room? Probably not, because you have DK Metcalf and you have Tyler Lockett that are really going to miss Russell Wilson at that point. But I mean, who's to say Andy Dalton doesn't go in there and do half the job? I don't know. Maybe that's exactly who people. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I think if anything happens, honestly, it'll be on draft night. It would be really interesting if it did. All right, let's keep going here.
Agreed. Yeah.
Let's see, where are we at? All right, so 21, the Colts. I remember looking at everybody's needs today, and I swear every single team had a need for offensive line, cornerback, or a wide receiver. And this is one of those teams where it's the Colts. The Colts are going to be good. They have been, even in the absence of what I think is a decent quarterback since Andrew Luck left. They've still been good because they're that team that is really just built up. They've picked well, and they have they've had a ton of cap space. They've signed well. here I have them taking J.C. Horn out of South Carolina, improve the defense. You've got a stud offense. Their defense, really honestly, their defense started off really well. And at one point, I remember seeing like, oh, the Colts have the number one defense in the league. But then like the Browns went in there and absolutely smacked them. So like, how good was their defense? You know, was it a defense that was good because of the division that play in, or the opponents that they were playing in or playing against, or you know, like it's hard to win games when against the better teams. Yeah, their defense played well against some of the lower teams, but like the better teams, they were giving up a lot of points and over the top mostly. So I think that they go corner here, try to improve the secondary, and yeah, I mean they're going to compete in that division. They're probably going to win that division, but
yeah, I could see that. I'm same thing. Got to address the defense with the Colts. I went to the line though. And I got a kid who could absolutely be one of the best steals in the draft, and that's Jalen Phillips out of Miami. I mean, the kid is an absolute monster. Yeah. He's a freak of an athlete. They need help on pass rush. And yeah, I mean, if you watched anything on Miami at all last year, the kid was just flying off the line, flying everywhere, stats out of the building. So yeah, I mean, plain and simple, like, take a good defensive player and keep rolling.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, we'll keep going here. I know that Alan's got things to do tonight, so I should probably appease my wife at some point. Let's see, 22. You got the Titans. Titans, man, they're another team that I don't really know here because like they did have a good defense and then it just went away, and then like they have a good offense, but then like they just traded away Corey Davis. But Corey Davis has also been hurt. So you still have A.J. Brown. Obviously, you have Derrick Henry. Me, personally, I went offense here. I think that they have to, with the teams in the AFC, you know, the Colts, and honestly, I'll say it, the Browns, the Ravens, the Chiefs, Colts, Browns, Ravens. I think those are your four teams that you have to look at, and you're going to have to split up points. And, yeah, you have A.J. Brown, but you need to have that other piece there, and I think that's why I have them taking was it Rondell Moore from Purdue. Yeah, that's who exactly.
I like it.
I had another receiver to that core.
I was torn between. Yeah, I was torn between adding a wide receiver here. I know A.J. Brown is a huge fan of Elijah Moore. He's already been trying to get the Titans to go get him.
I don't want them to. I want him to go to
boy
Cleveland
at Ole Miss to come out. But I went the other side with this one. They lost Jadeveon Clowney in free agency this past year. He's with your Browns now.
Yes, he is.
So I've got them taking another kid who's an absolute stud off the edge. And Azeez Ojulari.
Nice.
I know you had him going earlier, falling here, so that's what I've got.
I like it. Yeah, I mean it's not a bad thing to try to improve the defense too. I mean they're like I said, they're going to have to do some things to really a lot of people to really catch up with like the Chiefs and the Colts and the Browns and the Ravens and you know really honestly I think the Bengals are only a year or two away from being monsters too, but a healthy Joe Burrow that is.
Yep.
So 23 here, we've got the Jets, and this is their second pick in the first round. And you already had this guy go, but one thing that the Jets need that they don't have, and adding Zach Wilson, and with that you need to have other pieces around him. So I have them taking Najee Harris here, which I know for Steelers fans would make a lot of Steelers fans angry because there's a lot of talk that he could drop all the way to the Steelers 24. So maybe the Steelers like, knock, knock, hey, we'd like to trade with you to come up one pick. Well, we want Najee Harris, but that's where I have him going. I have Najee going to the Jets.
Well, I like it, dude. I was torn doing this draft, and the Dolphins, because I know the Dolphins, they do need some needs on the defense, and letting Najee fall. But for here, I think there's some decent weapons still there for the Jets that Zach Wilson can succeed around. And then they've got more picks coming up, later in the draft too. But I think one of the biggest needs that they need, other than quarterback, obviously since they don't even have one, is cornerback.
Yeah.
So I went, and this is where Caleb Farley, his slide fell for me, which I think is an absolute like huge steal here
Yeah, I
because if
agree.
his back is good to go, this kid's gonna like honestly he's already drawn comparisons to Revis. And if he can be anything close to what Revis did, that'd be great for the
Yeah.
Jets.
No, I agree. If yeah, if he's there and that's where they want to go instead of defense or instead of the offense, I mean, that's why not. Um, let's see.
Yeah.
Steelers at 24. Well, like I said, there's been a lot of talk that Najee would be able to drop all the way to the Steelers at 24, but like I said, I had the Jets taking them. So, in my opinion, I think you have the next best thing, and that's Travis Etienne out of Clemson. I really think like his draft stock to me, I think it's underrated, man. Like I think he's that guy that, and I know that we don't like to
Agreed.
put a lot of value on running backs these days, but like this kid's a monster. Like he's a monster, and he was like just tore up college football, and he was so good for Clemson. And everybody kept saying like his draft stock is dropping, his draft stock is dropping. Like he's maybe like a mid-second round pick, and I'm like, there's no way. Like I think if the Steelers can get him or Najee, especially like if he's there, 24 for the Steelers, like he's better than James Conner. Like there's no doubt in my mind there. And if you're gonna make another run
Oh yeah.
with Ben, like at least give him a stud running back. Now, granted, they have to do something
Yeah.
with the line because they lost Mike Pouncey, and to retirement, and everybody else
And
is getting old.
the
Uh,
well, Villanueva's gone now too.
Right. So
You don't have your tackle.
right. So I mean, they could very well. I mean, if they want to, because James Conner's gone. Like I don't remember where I just saw that he signed to, but he's gone. So that makes me think that they are under the assumption that they're going to either get probably Najee Harris or Travis Etienne in the draft. That would be my assumption. If they're not going to get James Conner or trade, I don't remember how it happened, either trade or they released him, whatever it may be. Like I feel like that's what they're going to do. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I see that totally. I've got them going defense though here. I've got them taking Greg Newsome, cornerback, and they still need help on the defensive side. And their cornerbacks are not great. They lost one in free agency, so they definitely need the help on the defensive side of the ball as far as cornerback if they're going to compete with the Browns and the Bengals and everything.
Right.
Then. So
Cool. All right. We'll keep moving on. Jags at 25. I'm going to absolutely butcher this dude's name too, but Trayvon Moehrig. That's what I'm saying his name is. I'm probably wrong. Safety out of TCU. I see him going defense here. Like I said, you got your quarterback in Trevor Lawrence now, and they've had flashes of their defense looking good. I think that Trevor Lawrence, even without taking somebody else like another offensive weapon in the first round, I think that like they have weapons there. Like that's why I really actually thought that good old mustache boy would actually do really well. But I don't know. Like I just think that if you get your offensive piece, you get your quarterback of the future. All right, cool. Let's just go. Let's work on the defense too. Let's take a good safety, somebody over the top, because that's they just got outscored so badly last year that it's hard for a young quarterback that hasn't proven himself to try to play catch up in all these games. So.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Defensive side is for me here too, and this is where Kwity Paye comes off the board. I think Urban Meyer understands where the battles are won and lost, and it's in the trenches. Yep. And what exactly with what you're saying is they got outscored by so many points. Best safeties in the world can only do so much if there's no pressure being put on the quarterback. So get Kwity Paye in there off the edge. And he's going to cause some havoc there in the NFC or AFC South.
Yeah,
AFC
it's going to be I'm sure that would rub Urban Meyer the wrong way to take the Michigan guy, but it's okay. All right,
I'm excited for this next pick. Though.
26, baby.
Here, so we'll flip flop it. We'll flip flop it here. Okay, so I'll give you who I think the Browns are going to take. I think that personally you'll be happy with this. To me, the Browns are set on the offense. The line's good. Baker's good. They obviously have the wide receivers, running backs galore. So here, I think that they need help in linebacker, and this is where they take Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker.
My
So
man, that's exactly who I have
I think
taken.
that every Browns fan, yep,
Yeah,
that kid's a stud, man. I mean, he's
oh, you got you finish. I'm sorry.
yeah, he's an absolute stud. He's an absolute stud, man. He played at Notre Dame. Obviously, he showed what he could do in the national championship. Whether Notre Dame got blown out or not, it's that's just what Notre Dame does in national championship or in the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
but other than that, the tape tells everything for this
yeah,
kid.
I mean, it's no hidden thing to say that obviously the Browns have the offensive pieces. They have one of the best offensive lines in the game. They've got arguably, in my opinion, one of the best wide receiver duos. And really, I mean, you've got DPJ and Rashad Higgins, and really even Cordarrelle. I mean, their receiver core is deep. They did well even with they went to the playoffs and won a playoff game without OBJ. Let's just put it that way. And then obviously your tandem as running back.
Yeah.
So there's not much need. I would say maybe like one more offensive line piece as but something that you could find in the second and third round that just for some depth because they showed times where they oh no.
Uh-oh, it's frozen.
All right. So we did have some technical difficulties. I don't know if Alan's still in here or not. See if we can get him loaded back up. That was my fault. My phone died. So just bear with me for like 30 more seconds to see if Alan is still in this thing.